Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show here on this, let's make it a Taco Tuesday. Let's have some fun today.
Go for a breakfast taco right now.
Yeah, that right. Tim Ham, IndyCar Tim, joining us from our Dallas affiliate here. Where it is Texas Rangers stuff. I see you, brother. I see you.
Side is it on? There we go.
There we go. Yeah. We're all jealous here. We're all jealous of watching all these baseball. But it's weird how a lot of the home teams aren't having such a good time lately.
It's crazy.
What is the deal with winning on the road? Every game in this series, right?
Yeah. Road team won every game. Rangers 8-0 in the playoffs. The last team to do that, the 96 Yankees.
Wow.
We saw the run that went on.
Yeah. And so who will you meet in the World Series? Who will it be?
Well, that's tonight, right?
Diamondbacks or Phillies. Yeah, we got another Game 7 coming up. So we'll talk some baseball here today. We got to get into some more Bucs. I got finished breaking down the All-22 last night, and man, it's worse than I thought, Tim. It's worse than I thought. Really, really bad football by the Bucs on Sunday, and they got a quick turnaround here to play Buffalo, a pretty well-coached team. And, you know, we'll get into this in a second, but the overarching theme to me is this team is heading down the same hole it went down last year. As the season goes on, they get out-coached. Their execution is worse. It should be getting better. It's getting worse. This is just a poorly coached team again. And it's a little mystifying in some ways, but not so much in others. Personnel decisions have got to change. There's a lot going on with the Bucs that we're going to get into here. Scott Reynolds is going to join us at 10:30. TJ Rives, Bucs sideline guy, will join us at 11:05. TJ also covers college football, so we're going to get into the Michigan scandal, which is a little bit more involved than we first thought. Very Belichickian, may I say. You know, I guess when you get sick of losing to Ohio State that much, you just go full scorched earth and try to figure it out. So really, really interesting stuff going on there. And I'm also going to get into we talked a little bit about this yesterday and last week of how Tampa Bay is we kind of lost our mojo, Tim. I think we kind of lost our mojo. It's, you know, these things are cyclical. You know, the pendulum swings back, and right now I think we're headed back towards maybe a little bit of mediocrity, and hopefully not for too long.
Because it's all three teams, right?
Yeah.
What's
Trending
wrong with
down.
the Lightning? Good Lord.
Salary cap.
Man.
You know, it's crazy because I think hockey has maybe the hardest salary cap in sports. Everybody else can fudge around with things, but in hockey, it's tough, and especially when, you know, in other sports the cap has been going up, and certainly in NFL it's been going up exponentially. Where hockey, it's kind of stayed status quo. And we were toying with the idea of hockey needs to adopt a kind of a Larry Bird rule.
Yeah.
You know, where you can sign your the players that have been with you forever. You want to keep them. You know, it's good. It's good for continuity of the game. It's good for dynasties are good. You know, you need, because it raises the level of everybody else's play, and it also, you know, there becomes a villain like the Yankees or, you know, whoever it is that the Darth Vader that you got to go after, right? So it creates interest in that way. And also it's great for the fans because you get to keep the star players in the places that they should be. You know, now, you know, just Stamkos going to have to go someplace else. I don't think so, but maybe he may be sufficiently pissed off that he just says, you know what, I gave you my loyalty all those years, and then when it's my turn to get the loyalty back, I really didn't get it. And I don't, I think that's a narrative that's out there, and I get it from the player's side. Absolutely. 100%. I don't blame them. I also understand from the ownership side that, we need more information. How much is the cap going up? Are we going to need to sign some other players? What's going on with Vasilevsky? So there's a lot of, I think they're going to do whatever they can to sign Steven Stamkos, and I think they'll overpay him to a degree that may be higher than market value because he played so long at lower than market value.
Right.
But that's, in a hard salary cap league, that doesn't help your franchise. Returning the loyalty and overpaying doesn't help the franchise moving forward with older players. It just doesn't. It's the same thing with Mike Evans. That sucks, but that's the business of the game.
Right.
And we can get all wrapped up in our feels, but the bottom line is, none of these guys are going hungry. They don't have to worry about inflation like the rest of us. It sucks. I get it, but we're talking about the difference between 9 million and 7 million.
Yeah. Wow.
In the world we live in right now, it's hard to get into that, and I had another rant coming at some point about professional athletes and where we are right now in society, and how you can stand at a podium and demand to be traded and sit out and don't come to practice. James Harden, Devontae Adams, just go down the list when people are just really freaking struggling, and the ticket prices are ridiculous for every sport. They're ridiculous. Yeah. And we're supposed to somehow feel sorry for a player that's not going to get a contract extension in the gazillions of dollars. It's hard. And I understand it from the player perspective, but I think at some point, some of these professional athletes need to step back and take a look at what's going on in society and stop being so freaking selfish and stop talking about me all the time. I hate to say it, but just shut up, Devontae Adams. Shut up. I mean, I don't want to hear it. And I heard somebody talking the other day about, it's when you have a star player like that comes to the mic and says all those things that he's doing. And I'm not saying he's wrong. And there definitely is a responsibility of an organization to run your crap correctly, right? Get your crap together. There's a responsibility there. But at the same time, it's not just you. You're tied to, the trainer's family, the assistant coach's family, the promotions director. When a regime gets fired, almost everybody gets fired and everybody's gone. Now, okay, they make a lot of money. A lot of people do, but there's a lot of other people that don't make a ton of money that they're all tied to you. They're all tied to you as the star player making most of the money. And when you bail, they're not getting, a significant return back. They're not getting commensurate return back. You're putting in the franchise even deeper hole and affecting a lot of lives. Sometimes would it be, look, you signed, you went there, you knew the risks, you knew maybe your quarterback wasn't going to be there, but you took the money. You took the money, didn't you? But now it's not going right, and now you want to complain? And I don't want to harp on just Devontae because I think he's a good dude. I really do. But this is just, endemic to all of professional sports. I'm just shut the F up. I don't want to hear it anymore. You go and take the money in a certain situation, it all looks good, and it goes sour, and suddenly you want out. You want out. And we're talking about James Harden's making, what, $40 million? Are you effing kidding me? And you can't play? You can't play basketball? Zion Williamson? Your head's not right? You can't play basketball? You can't go out there and dribble a ball and dunk it? Because your mind's not right mentally. Are you absolutely freaking kidding me? How soft have we become?
The NBA is the worst example of that of the four major sports, five if you count soccer. But and it's the reason I quit watching basketball. I can't handle the NBA anymore, JP. I quit watching it probably 15 years ago.
I can't either.
I watched the Dallas Mavericks championship run in 11, and I was happy for them. I couldn't have named other than like Dirk and maybe Jason Terry and Jason Kidd at the time. I couldn't even told you who was on the team till I started watching it. But two things happen here. You get these guys that don't endear themselves to the fans when they complain about stuff like that. First of all, it's a bad look for the player. But I think in some cases, I'm not saying this is the case with Devontae Adams or any specific players, but I feel like they get a lot of bad advice from their agents from time to time.
Yeah, they do. They do. And their agents, of course, all they want to do is max dollars. Mm-hmm. They don't give a shit about, quality of life or any of that stuff. They're just all about just maxing out the dollars so they can put on their resume, they got this guy that, and if God forbid your client takes an under market deal because he likes where he lives and loves the fan base.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How could you do that? How could you do that? I mean, just in society alone, I'm sorry, Tim, but I'm about to go off.
Go for it.
The freaking absolute obsession with money and celebrity and who has what and what logo you wear and what's on your belt, what's on your hat, what's on your t-shirt, how much the shoes cost. I mean, people have lost their effing mind. I want to give you I've just finished watching The Fall of the House of Usher last night. If you have not seen this on Netflix, you need to binge watch it for so many reasons. Number one, it is a cinematic masterpiece. It is so beautifully filmed and so beautifully done. Mike Flanagan is the best writer, producer in the business right now. And his stuff that he does is so freaking interesting. It's so multi-level. And he's taken Edgar Allan Poe's The Fall of the House of Usher and modernized it into a pharma family, basically, the OxyContin scandal. And he weaves these themes through it all about how people will sell their freaking souls for money and power. And that, in fact, they will actually they will kill their children, literally kill their children. I don't want to give too much away here, but that's what it's all about. And there's this speech at the end, this soliloquy at the end where it just talks about how people are so obsessed with money and buying and consumerism and everything. And we've lost the human connection, what's really important in life, family, kids, making people better, bettering other people's lives. If we're not here to make other people's lives better, which, by the way, when you do that, you make your life better. If we're not here to help each other and be in community, why the F are we here? What is our meaning? I know we come on and talk about sports every day, and to me, it's important because what happens in sports is such a precursor to society. I mean, you can go back to Jackie Robinson, how sports has led the way on so many social issues. And I will point to the sports stars now as they have ushered in the me generation. It started with, and start with me, Sean. But it's this whole throw me the damn ball. Mishan, get mine, get your bag. Don't F about no, you don't need to care about anybody else. Nobody on your team, nobody in the stands, nobody else. Get your freaking bag, man. That's supposed to be justification for everybody's behavior. It's absolutely sickening. It makes me sick to my stomach. And the athletes are the worst part of it. When they have been, some of the athletes have been the best part. And I don't mean to lump them all in, because there are a lot of athletes that do care about the team, that do put the team first, that don't care about the money. Take less money and build around a team. At least Tom Brady did that. I don't like him in a lot of other, but he did do that. And he didn't have to make it about him because everybody else did. So, I'm just so effing tired of it. And it's hard to watch professional sports these days. And that goes over to college sports now when, we were just talking about this off air, these idiot, this former boss or Massachusetts mayor, now they put in charge of the NCAA, this greedy old white mofo, excuse me, but he wants to go up to Capitol Hill and take more rights away from the players who have been busting their ass for decades, feeding these athletic directors, these fat cats and coaches who are making all this money off the players. You have the balls to go up to Capitol Hill because they're starting to make money and you don't like it because that money used to go to you. And thank God for Senator Kennedy for pointing that out. It seems like the adults are doing pretty well. And now that the kids are getting the money that used to go to you, you're not very happy about it. And you're coming up here to get it back. Well, screw you. Screw you. Why don't you come up here and fix your freaking sport and make sure that the players are compensated, not only during college, but afterwards when they can get some health care for going out for 5-6 years, ruining their knees and their heads and everything else, playing football to enrich the universities and everybody else. And then you're like, oh, we're done with you now. See ya. I mean, it's ridiculous. Can somebody have some leadership, not just in sports, but in a country, and care about the people and not lining their own freaking pockets and self-serving themselves? People are hurting out there, man. They are hurting. They're dying. 8% inflation. 8% inflation. Try 100% inflation on everything. People can't afford anything. And we want to bitch at Rays fans for not showing up to line the pockets of some billionaire and pay $200 for his freaking tickets when we can't afford our mortgage, and somehow the fans are the problem? The fans are the problem? You guys got to be freaking kidding me.
It's comical.
It's comical. I'm the whole damn thing. I'm so freaking done with it. What about us? What about the little guy? What about the fans? And isn't it funny how we draw this analogy in sports, and it's the same thing that's happening in our government and country, right?
Yeah.
They don't give a rat's ass about the people. They don't give it. In fact, they just want to tear it all down. Just tear it all down. It's not even politics anymore, folks. If you haven't been paying attention, it's not right or left. It's this is an existential threat to freedom as we've known it. And I frankly don't know if we'll ever get it back. But it's hit sports too. It's hit sports too. And I wonder how the fans feel about it out there. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And I'm having a hard time actually continuing to do what I do. I'm having a hard time because I don't a lot of times I don't want to talk about these players. I don't even want to watch it half the time, with the attitudes of some of them. Freaking Devin White. This guy has the freaking balls to stand up there and demand that he's going to get $20 million, that he's the best linebacker in football, and that dude can't get off a block better than you and me. He's awful.
He was bad Sunday.
And I don't understand how people can keep saying this guy's a good player. I've watched his tape for 3 years. He's terrible. He's terrible. Every team goes after him. Every team steamrolls him. Go watch the Eagles tape. Watch this tape.
Wasn't he a top 10 pick too? I mean, he was drafted.
Pick, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, he can run and he can hit, but he doesn't run to the right place, doesn't hit the right person. I mean, always taken advantage of. And the coach just keeps putting him in there. Yeah, go out there, man. I love you. You're like a son to me. That's great. And I appreciate the coach helping him out on a personal level. And that's awesome. And that's admirable. And that's fantastic. But, you can't keep covering for a guy that's not a good football player. Everybody else on the team watches the same tape you do, Todd. They know he's not playing well. And they know you got a guy in Savasi Dennis that's probably a better player. But this is the contract year for him, and you want to keep him out there so he can go get his bag. I'm telling you, sorry, Todd, everybody else watches the film too. Ain't nobody paying him. Nobody. And the Bucs should not either. Absolutely 100% not. And this is not personal on Devin, although I don't like how he handled his business. But this is what it is. This guy's so delusional, he thinks he's going to hold out. You're stealing $11.7 million this year. Stealing it. And you're going to tell me you're going to hold? Please hold out. Please hold out. I mean, it's comical. These guys are so freaking delusional. But here we sit, and I'm sorry I had to go on that rant, but I'm just kind of over it. And I don't think what I see, I don't think I'm alone. I think a lot of people are getting fed up with football. I think all professional sports, and and if the industry doesn't catch up in terms of the pricing of the tickets and the concessions, I think it's going to continue to trend downward. I may be wrong. But, I think you've seen, I guess baseball attendance was up this year. So maybe I'm wrong. But I know it's been down in some other sports. I know it's down in the NBA, and I know it's down. It was down in football. I don't know about the last year post-COVID. But, it's not good. But as we get back to what I was going to talk about today, in Tampa Bay, it is a decline. And, you see it with the Lightning, it all has to do with salary cap. It all has to do with salary cap. They've developed their players. They've paid their players. They've done everything they can to stay relevant. But you just, as you develop players, you got to get rid of players that go and, leading other teams in scoring all over the league. I mean, you can make up a freaking all-star teams of players that the Lightning had to give away. So, Yanni Gord, Vanderhaeg, I mean, so many good players. But here they sit. I think they're a competitive team, but Vasilevsky's on the shelf. They brought in new guys, and it's going to take a while for them to gel. I think this team can be better than the team last year at the end of the year. I think they can be faster. I think they can be better. I think Julien Brisebois is a brilliant general manager. He's done a great job keeping them relevant within the salary cap. And I can tell you this, he's the last one, and Jeffrey Minnick is well, probably Mr. Vinnick first and then Julian second. If it were up to them and they could open the checkbook, they would give Steven Stamkos as much money as they could possibly afford. That's how much they love him. But in a salary cap league, and they want to reward his loyalty. I mean, I trust me, it pains this organization to hear Steven say these things and other people say things about the organization, but I get it. You know, they're really, really stuck. It's a catch-22 in so many ways. So, but this team, you know, is it good enough to compete? Yes, it's good enough to compete. I think they will find their way. Are they an elite Stanley Cup team of in the past 2 years? No, they're not. They're not. And we'll see how the season plays out, see who gets hurt, see who's where. But at this point, you know, they've got to get competitive. You know, the loss Saturday night to Toronto was just a lot of the same stuff that's been killing them. You know, not being able to hold leads for the past year and a half. They have not been able to hold leads where they used to be able to, you know, they got a 3-1 lead. That game was over. That game was over. They knew how to finish games. And that's really, really been a problem for them right now. So they've got to find a way to get back to that lockdown style when they get a lead, because they can get a lead. I mean, Kucher, the offensive talent on his team is unrivaled. They're fantastic. Kucherov is, you know, I think he's going to have a 50 goal season the way he's shooting the puck right now. I'm not too worried about where the Lightning are right now, which brings us to the Buccaneers. You know, watching this tape, you see so many mistakes. I mean, guys running wrong routes. I mean, O'Keefe, you know, and why you're putting your eggs in the O'Keefe basket, I have no idea. You probably have no idea who he is, Tim.
No.
Nor should you, quite frankly. You know, he's the fifth. He should be. I don't even nice guy, but you know, he's put in to go in motion and kick out block on somebody. Maybe one of the easiest things you can do in football. Completely whiffs. Guy makes the play. 2 plays later, they have a backside rollout bootleg, and he's supposed to. At least I hope this is the way the play was drawn up. He's supposed to come mid-level and go towards the out the way the quarterback is rolling, and he sits down in the middle of the field for some ungodly reason with nothing but green grass in front of him to run to, where his quarterback is running like just instinctually, like that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And Baker's got to throw the ball away. And these are just, you know, certain little instances here on one of the biggest plays of the game. You know, it's 3rd and goal from the 3-yard line early on after Bowles goes for it on 4th down, which I didn't have a problem with the call. I had a problem with the play call and the execution. We'll get to that in a second. So your Desmond Ridder is running an RPO, and, you know, he fakes the ball to Algier, or, you know, he pulls it because JTS and the Devin White crashed down on the dive back. And he just, you know, Ridder just runs unscathed, untouched into the end zone. I mean, this is just basic responsibility football. And it's so funny because the best player on defense, or second best, Antoine Walker, you know, he's just, you can see his, you know, on the all-22, you can just see him just going, like, what are you guys doing? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, how many times did we go over this at practice? And you're both, you're both crashing down on the back. Like, you know, who's got quarterback responsibility? I don't know if it was Devin or it was JTS. I don't care, because they're both the same guy. They don't know how to play. They don't understand it. They have no instincts. They don't know how to. Their football IQ is ridiculously low, and you can see it on so many plays. This is not a smart football team. It's not a well-coached football team. You know, it's everywhere on the tape. It's so much worse than the score. That should have been a 31-10 game. And it's like, how do you start? You start 3-1 and you just regress so fast. It's bad coaching. It's bad accountability. Everybody else gets their tape. They know what you're doing, so now you have to adjust. They can't do it. Todd Bowles' coaching staff can't do it. At least I don't see it. I don't see it. And they're unwilling to make personnel changes that clearly need to be made. They're just married to players for whatever reason. You know, I don't know if it's, you know, I see Todd is kind of, he was a player. He's kind of a player's coach. He protects the players in the press. He gives them time off all the time. You know, he's just, you know, you want to be the player's friend or you want to be a coach? You want to be a badass coach. Which is it you're going to be? You can't protect players because you like them personally. You can't protect players all the time in the media. We see the tape. We can see it. And if you don't call it out, then the fans lose confidence in you. I love Todd Bowles as a human. He's a great dude. But, man, This team is not responding. It's not responding. It plays like there's zero accountability, and that's what we saw last year as the season went on. Constant busts. The last play to Kyle Pitts that sets up the field goal. You got a busted coverage underneath, and then basic safety play. Ball coming to you. You can't knock the ball away. You tackle the man. You are the safety. You are the last line of defense. And what is Ryan Neal doing there? Standing there, watching Kyle Pitts catch the ball and run around him. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing on the biggest plays of the game? And then on the 4th and 5 early on in the game, and he's going for it. I don't have a problem with it. The 42-yard line, it's 4th and 5. You get the same blitz from the other side that you just got on 3rd down, where nobody ran a hot route on 3rd down. And guess what? Nobody's running a hot route on 4th down. You got Evans and Godwin both in man-to-man, and they're blitzing. That's exactly what you want as a quarterback. At least I would. And does Godwin break off his route and run a quick slant to the open area? Easy pitch and catch? Nope. He's running down the field with his back to the quarterback as the blitz is coming in untouched, right in front of him. I don't know if that's his responsibility to run the hot. I don't know. But somebody should have run a hot route. Nobody did. Same thing on the previous play. And it's just like, what do you guys practice? Do you practice? Do you have expectations of what's coming at you? I mean, it's like and then you turn on the foul. Oh, there's a nice seam play down the middle because they know Devin White's not going to drop with the tight end, and Ryan Neal's the guy that's not going to attack from the backside. There's going to be a huge hole there. Desmond Ridder just rips one to Jonnu Smith right into the open area that sets up the first touchdown. You can see what they're attacking and how they're doing it. You look at the Bucs plays and you're like, what the hell was that? Like, what's the plan? Like, what are we doing on that play? Like, what is the route concept in the end zone? Go run to the end zone, turn around while everybody stands there and looks at the quarterback. That's the route concept. Wow. Shocking. That didn't work. I mean, it's just, it's crazy.
And I saw a shocking amount of plays where you had, at the end of their routes, you had 2 wide receivers within 5 yards of each other.
Yeah,
that's not supposed to happen.
Lots of that going on. Dude, it's swear to God, it looks like they don't even practice. And the quarterback, I'm sorry, he's holding the ball. He's holding the ball now. You can't do that in the NFL. The guys aren't going to be open forever. You got to pull the trigger, when they right off the bat, K Dotton's coming open. He's off. You got to anticipate. He's got to throw the ball, hitch, sack. It's just like, so, Baker's for some reason has kind of lost his mojo. He's not letting it rip. And, since the bye week, the last 2 games have been terrible for him. Off target. They did have a good play set up to Godwin early on in the game. He's open down the sideline. He misses them again. Miss him. You can't miss the easy throws, especially when you got a good play that's set up. Rarely, you get the guy open, you can't hit him. So their execution level is at an all-time low already. I don't see the plan. I don't see the reactions. I don't see, you don't see a well-coached football team. You see a lot of guys out there that appear to not know what they're doing or don't understand their responsibilities. And that's going to get your ass beat every week. They short week going up to Buffalo, who just lost the game, that could get freaking ugly. And I mean ugly with a big U.
Man, they're not very good either, though, I don't think.
I know. No, they're not. They're not. But, like earlier this year, they turned it on, whoop the Dolphins' ass, right? Remember that? Everybody said Dolphins are going to hang 70 on you. And, and they're a well-coached football team. They'll be ready, and they'll be, prepared. On a short week, like we can't get prepared on an off week. We're going to get prepared on a short week. Like, from a coaching standpoint, good luck, boys. Have fun in Buffalo. You gotta, and they're all probably just like, I've already packed it in, looking forward to the mini bye week where I'm sure they'll have about 50 days off. So
we talked about JP about Bowles being a player's coach.
Yeah,
and he's going to be friends with the players and look out for his guys. Is the hierarchy there? Light and Glazer, are they kind of the same type of people? Are they overly loyal? Or do they counter each other? Like, that's the only reason I can think of that some of these guys are getting playing time when they shouldn't be getting playing time. It might be coming from the top. Like, we got to take care of our guy.
Maybe, that could be it. That could be, it could be. But I get a sense it's more Bowles related. Yeah. I know Jason Light has shown his ability when he screws up a pick to just, he's not going out there protecting his guy. I don't get that sense. He did it with Aguayo and did it with some others that, once he makes a mistake, he's just, all right, get rid of the dude. We screwed up. I'll learn from this. I don't get that sense, but maybe there's some pressure to do that. Maybe there's some pressure to play Cody Mock, who's a rookie second-round pick at right guard. He's not ready to play in the NFL, in my opinion. The tape shows it. Matt Filer, they brought him in saying that, he's going to be a good player at left guard. He's a 31-year-old washed offensive guard. Can't push anybody, can't do anything. And they got guys, that can come in and play, but they won't do it. They won't pull the trigger for whatever reason. And, you keep playing – doing the same stuff, you're going to get the same result. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. Scott Reynolds will join us from the Pewter Report. TJ Reeves will join us a little bit later on. We're brought to you by The Patio. Great place to watch football under the stars, under the palm trees. Great happy hour each and every day. $1 off beer and wine. They're already low prices. It's not some stuffy place that's going to try to take all your money, folks. This is where the blue-collar folks go and have a good time at The Patio. We love it. Great place. You never know who you're going to see there, too. It's The Patio, 421 South McDill, 3 blocks south of Kennedy. Great place to hang out. We will be there on Friday night. They're going to have a Halloween contest, too, so you don't want to miss that. And they got the Bucs and the Bills on Thursday night, so check that out. It's The Patio. All right, we'll be back with Scott Reynolds right after this. Stay with us.
Coins sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go.
Right now. back to the show with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Tuesday, as we've been breaking down a whole lot of different stuff on all the sports, but we're going to dial into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the best of the best. Scott Reynolds of the Pewter Report joins us now. And Scotty, I know, like me, you have been poring over this film, this horror show that, at least to me, much worse than I thought it was going to be. Once we got into the autopsy, there was a lot of sickness in the body. I'll just turn it over to you. What did you see on Sunday and on the tape?
Todd Bowles said it best. If everyone could play like Antoine Winfield Jr., this team would have no problems. This guy is showing how it's done in a contract year. He is putting on a clinic of, I want the bag. Okay. It's like, but here's the thing.
I'm going to earn the bag.
Oh, yeah.
Earn the bag.
Yes, he's earning it. I mean, he's already earned it, and he's going to continue to earn it every week.
Yes.
This guy is playing lights out football. If he does not make the Pro Bowl because he doesn't have any interceptions, and of course that's what the dummies look at. You know, how many interceptions does the defensive back have? Oh, he's in the Pro Bowl. You know, how many sacks does the linebacker have? He's in the Pro Bowl. Right? It's ridiculous. It's maddening. This guy has forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, sacks, touchdown saving tackles, touchdown saving pass breakups. He's doing everything but interceptions, right?
Yes.
And they're going to come. He might end up with 2, but he'll have made 15 other game changing plays throughout the year. And if he doesn't make the Pro Bowl, shut it down. All right, you've already gone from playing the game to having flag football. Right, just shut it down. Just say, here's your participation trophy, and just call it a day, and just bury the Pro Bowl, because it means nothing. This guy's playing actually at an All-Pro level this year, and it's fun to see.
As is Levante David as well.
No doubt.
Right next to him.
Yeah. Winfield is putting on the clinic of how to play in a contract year.
Mm-hmm.
Devin White should attend that clinic and then take notes. Okay.
You are on fire.
How does your middle linebacker have 5 tackles? 5. When the Falcons ran the ball 38 times for 156 yards. How does your Mike linebacker have 5? Okay. If I'm Hardy Nickerson or I'm Shelton Quarles, in their prime, like Devin White is, I would have 12 to 13 tackles in that game. Kind of like old man Levante had 13 tackles.
Yeah.
Okay. The film was soft.
It
was embarrassing. And you know what? I'm okay with it. It's not my career. It's not my contract. But he's playing his way out of Tampa Bay. And you know what? I'm fine with that, because if the Bucs continue to get that version of Devin White, then they're better off without him.
And you mentioned this on your podcast, and I mentioned it on the postgame show and yesterday as well. Personnel changes need to be made.
Yes.
And this is where coaching comes in a very real way. How can you go through a film session with Devin White playing, and it's not just this week, by the way.
Right.
It's been all season long.
Yeah.
And everybody can see it. And yet you have a healthy Servassier Dennis that's ready to play, and you don't even give him a snap.
Sure.
And I'll say the same thing about Matt Filer, the same thing about Cody Mock, the same thing about any of the running backs.
Ryan Neal.
Yeah, Ryan Neal is just awful.
Yeah.
And D. Delaney makes plays.
Yeah.
And how can you as a coaching staff continue to send these guys out there when everybody knows they shouldn't be playing? That's how you lose a team.
It's coaching
That's how
malpractice.
you lose a team.
You're right. Nobody thought Andrew Adams was a starting caliber safety for the Buccaneers. Nobody did, right? That's why he wasn't a starter. The only time Andrew Adams started was when there were injuries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the same thing with Keith Tandy, right? He was, it's like he's not good enough to start, but we have to start him. We got to play him at nickel. We got to play him at safety, right? But the thing is, those guys
make plays.
They make plays, right? They just do. I remember, Cam Newton getting picked off 3 times by Andrew Adams in a game.
Yeah.
I don't remember Rondé Barber picking off Cam Newton 3 times. Okay.
Aaron Brooks, he got 4 times, I think, in a game. But
but you know what I'm saying? It's just like sometimes you have to give guys a chance, right? And they might surprise you. Sometimes guys are gamers, right? They may not look the part, they may not, light it up in practice, whatever, but you put him out there and then stuff happens. Go back and look at the tape. It's there. D. Delaney played a very credible, very good game against the New Orleans Saints when Ryan Neal was concussed on the first series.
Yeah.
He played that game. He got a second interception, picked off Jameis Winston. It's like, could it get any worse than Ryan Neal? Probably not. And you know what? If it does, fine. Put Ryan Neal back in. But let's see what this guy can do first. And you know what? It goes back to last year, this coaching staff. I know Todd Bowles is hands off on the offense. He's still the head coach. They waited too long to replace Luke Gedeke. Waited 8 weeks to replace Luke Gedeke at left guard.
And it took an injury.
And look what happened. Nick Leverett played better, right?
That's right.
Is he a world beater? No. Right? Go back to the Super Bowl year. Alex Kappa playing really good football. The only lineman that year for Tampa Bay that didn't give up a sack in the Super Bowl year was Alex Kappa. Breaks his ankle against Washington, right? They put Aaron Stinney in there. He's not a starting caliber guard, but he rose to the occasion. He played better than his abilities because the team needed him to. He's like, hey, this is my chance. And he made the most of it. He wasn't a weakness. He wasn't the weak link there. He played credible football. Put these backups in and see if the play gets better. Because you know what? It just might.
Yeah. And the other thing is it sends a message to everybody on the team that this is a meritocracy. We don't play favorites,
Right.
which if you don't have that in a football locker room, you got nothing. You got zero.
Yep.
And the other part is it motivates the starter.
It does.
You bring
the fix is in, man, with Devin. All right. He's
That's
Todd
awful.
Bowles' guy.
Yeah.
He's Todd Bowles' guy. Todd Bowles waited until after the bye week to name captains because he wanted to make sure Devin had enough good film because Devin decided to skip the offseason pouting about his contract, right? So he wanted to make sure that, because remember, this is a meritocracy. This is a democracy. Every player gets a vote, right? So if you're Payne Durham, you get a vote. If you're Sabathia Dennis, you get a vote. If you're Cody Mauch, you get a vote. And if you're a rookie, if you're a newcomer to this team, right, like a Matt Filer, right, you haven't seen Devin White because he's been out the whole offseason, right? So Todd did enough, got Devin on the field enough, got the interception thrown right to him against the Eagles, right, whatever.
Ran out of bounds because run over the quarterback that he likes.
But, he waited, right, to ensure that Devin got the C on his chest, right? So Devin's going nowhere. But the good news is he's not going to be back next year. I don't know, and I mean, I don't know this to be fact, but if I'm Jason Light and I drafted the guy, he's like my draft pick too, right? Not just Todd's, but I don't know how you can look at the film and say, yeah, he's worth not even $20 million. He's not even worth $12 million the way he plays.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
The touchdown that Devin Ritter ran on that critical 3rd and goal from the 3-yard line, 3-yard line. Yeah. They run an RPO and both JTS and Devin White crashed down on the running back like a bunch of, high school kids that have never watched film in their life. And
I mean, it was on JTS, right? But if you're Devin White and you have some pride, right? Yeah. If you're the fastest linebacker in the league, like he proclaims, use that 4.4 speed, bust your ass,
go get him,
and chase him down. That's the play he should have chased Desmond Ridder down, not blowing the coverage like a Pop Warner linebacker, right? When Antoine Winfield already has a bead on Desmond Ridder, and what's Ridder going to get? Maybe 3 to 4 yards, run out of bounds. Okay.
Pop Warner, don't you teach your linebackers wait until he crosses the line of scrimmage, the quarterback, stay on your man.
No doubt. It goes back. It's Pop Warner stuff. It really is. And it goes back to that. And to sit there and give up a 46-yard completion to a running back, when you're in a contract year and you're in year 5
in a critical situation
of your career and you're in year 4 of Todd Bowles' defense. I mean, come on.
I thought it was like, and you knew me, we talked about this in the offseason. Like this guy, this is the guy that's holding out. This is the guy.
Yeah.
Have you looked at your tape?
He's delusional.
Delusional.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know who's in his ear telling him he's the $20 million linebacker, but
nobody. He's looking in the mirror and he's telling himself that because nobody's telling him that. Nobody that watches football.
Not his agent. You don't think his agent's involved in this a little bit?
Of course, the agent is because the agent wants the more the salary, the higher the commission. Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, Scott, JP, and I talked earlier about Todd Bowles maybe being a little overly loyal to some of these guys, particularly Devin White. Is there any chance he gets orders from above to say you've got to bench this guy? No. We need something. That's not how it works over there.
It's not. It's not how it works. And coaches. It's a virus, man. It's not just Todd Bowles. I mean.
Yeah.
Coaches are just loyal to certain guys, man. It's like we saw, the last guy in the building that was defending Byron Leftwich last year was Bruce Arians. That's just his guy. That was his blind spot, right? And this is Todd Bowles' blind spot. That's his guy. And and that's okay, because there's going to be a confrontation at some point, and I'll tell you what, if I'm Jason Light, I'm avoiding the fight next March, the free agent fight over Devin White, because here's what's going to happen. What's going to happen is they're not going to make a contract offer, which they haven't yet, right? And just like Mike Evans, they're going to let Devin hit free agency and see what his market value is. and even if he gets an offer, like he's making 11.7 right now in year 5, even if he gets an offer at $10 million, Todd will be like knocking on Jason's door. See, sign him now. That's cheap. 10 million. We can get him under the cap. And if I'm Jason, I'm going to say, no. We drafted Servastier Dennis. We don't want to compound the problem and have, the guy and Devin plays well sometimes. You just don't know when that's going to be. You don't know when you're going to get the good Devin and when you're going to get the
right. When he guesses right.
Yeah.
Or they throw him the football when he's just standing there.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I'm Jason Light, I'm avoiding the fight altogether, and I'm just going to pick up the phone and say, a day 3 pick for Devin? Sure, let's do it. And just trade him. Trade him now. Start the Servastier Dennis movement. Take that off-season fight off your hands and just say, idea. We're moving on without him. He won't do it because the Bucs are in a precarious situation. They're still probably going to win the NFC South this year at 9 wins.
I don't know about
so
that.
Bad. I think they will.
I think Atlanta's a better football team. I think Atlanta's a way better football team.
I think they were on Sunday. I'm curious as to see how it plays out. Atlanta just has a knack for beating itself. The Falcons are going to Falcon at some point.
They didn't
on Sunday.
Arthur Smith. I think their personnel is fantastic.
Yes,
but I don't trust Arthur Smith. It's coaching that's holding them back. And Ritter makes mistakes, but I tell you what, though, he
made some good throws.
He's got a cannon.
Wow. He actually outthrew Baker Mayfield.
Oh, yeah,
I think if you take away the red zone turnovers that he had, he outplayed Baker Mayfield. He really did.
25. Yeah. 19 of 25.
And some big-time throws, too. Some big, decisive, on-the-money throws. Yeah.
The deep ball to Scotty Miller was perfect. The seam ball to Jonnu Smith down there was a laser. He's – I was beating him up last week because I saw the highlights and I see his bad plays. But when you watched at least that tape, that was a good tape. Yeah, and it's the fumble on the goal line, you can't have that, man. You can't obviously fumble the snap. And the ball security running into the end zone, made a great play to get into the end zone, but you got to lock that ball up. Yeah. Great play, but that's one of those where that's a great play by Winfield. I mean, that's a fantastic phenomenal play by Winfield. So, but he's got to get that out of his game. But other than that, I think Ritter might stick around. It might be a halfway decent quarterback.
He might. To me, he's the next Jameis Winston. He's going to keep both teams in the game
right now.
Yeah. And
if he can't clean up his game, he'll end up like Jameis. So, but if he does, the kid's got a chance to be. He ain't going to be Tom Brady, but got a chance. He's got good skills. Defensively, let me start with the offense. We're breaking things down. I saw, a lot of missed assignments. Ko Keefe misses the block. We talked about that. He's sitting down in the middle. Quarterbacks rolling out to the left, and he's sitting down in the middle of the field. And I saw a lot of, on the 4th and 5, their second straight corner blitz coming at them. Right. They have neither one of those plays did they have a hot route. Right. Not one. Yeah. They had Godwin and Evans on 4th down, both man to man. That's a hot route. Slant to Godwin. It's easy money.
They don't throw enough slants, man. They don't.
No, they really don't. They don't take the easy money. But where's the hot route? Where's the recognition of the blitz? It's just I'm looking at some of the play designs. I'm like, what is going on in the red zone? Like, what is that?
I agree.
Baker's holding the ball. My God, so many times he's not pulling the trigger. What did you see on the offense?
I think he's got to take off and run more. He does.
Oh my God,
he does. Right. I mean, because when he does, good things happen. And I think he also too on that 3rd and 1, it was like kind of a read option, right? Where it was zone blocking and they got the flow to the left, and White got stuffed, I think, for like -1. That's got to be one of those things where he does that and then he pulls and
Yes.
bootlegs.
Yes.
And he's got a one-on-one, right? If the defender doesn't flow down, then he's got a defender, and he's got to make a guy miss for 1 yard and just dive and get the first, right? That's all he has to do. But they've got to involve him more in a little bit more QB run stuff. I'm not talking like every down. I'm not talking about like Marcus Mariota back at Oregon. I'm talking about just like give him 3 or 4 design rollouts where he has the option. It's a naked bootleg or something where he can pass run, right? And because he can pick up some first down, scoot for 8 yards, get out of bounds, move the chains. I think that's vital to this offense right now. And I would also get him on the run in some of those naked bootlegs, not the design rollouts. I'm not a big fan of rolling out inside the 10-yard line because you're just truncating your space there. But if you have the flow going one way and you have, kind of like Desmond Ridder, right? Where like if you put a defender at the 5-yard line in no man's land, he's either going to come up and make the tackle or he's going to get the ball thrown over his head for the touchdown. Create more of those opportunities where you've got a one-on-one isolation, and then maybe have like a backside trailer coming, right, to where you've got the tight end where it's Cade Otton, coming out on that naked boot, and then you've got Mike running, a crosser there where Baker in his sight line can hit Cade, or he can throw across his body, and try to find Mike with like a little 7-yard dart, right? Those are the things I want to see about the red zone. Not easy, but easier, right, than what we've seen.
Right.
One thing else I'll say too is and I'm going to ask Dave Canales this in about an hour. I don't know if Seattle did this with regularity or even like on an instance, but I know that Harold Goodwin, who's the run game coordinator, and Joe Gilbert over the last couple of years, and it started in 2020 when the Buccaneers were struggling to run the ball, they started using Joe Haig as an extra tight end. They would just basically get Gronk in there. Instead of having Cam Brate, they'd put in an extra offensive lineman, right? And they did that with Josh Wells in 2021, using a tackle as an extra tight end, right? You're basically saying, screw it, we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball based on our formation and stuff.
But at least this guy can block.
At least this guy can block, right? Cade Otton cannot block. Keefe cannot block. So in my opinion, and you're trying to run the ball and you've got either one of those guys or both on the field, you're shortchanging your offense.
Yeah.
And so why not get, and I don't care if it's Nick Leverett, I don't care if it's Justin School, I don't care if it's Aaron Stinney, put the best lineman you think could serve as an extra tight end out there on the perimeter and get the edge blocked, right? And we saw it last week, just like we saw it against the Lions, right? Cade Otton gets blown up in the backfield. It's a 4-yard loss for Keyshawn Vaughn. Those kind of plays can't happen. Even if you get 2 yards, right? It's a 6-yard net swing. If you get 2 yards on that carry, and let's say the play gets strung out and you have to run out of bounds, you got something. Now it's 2nd and 8 rather than 2nd and 14, and it makes a world of difference in your play calling.
Hey, before you go, real quick, short week for the Bills. You're not going to make a lot of personnel changes, although Baker didn't practice. Would be interesting.
He's okay. It's just a walkthrough yesterday. He'll be okay.
Do you think Filer's injured? So I think we will see Nick Leverett this week.
There's a chance,
which would be good. But on the mini bye, do you bring in a running back? I know Chase Edmonds is coming back. That's good.
Yeah,
do you bring in a running back? Do you make some changes? Do you go out and make some, or just even internally make some personnel changes? I think you have to.
I think you have to, because I don't see them winning on Thursday. Now you're talking 3 straight losses, right? Mm-hmm. And usually they call it the panic button because by the time you're hitting it, you're panicking. I always like to avoid the panic button and hit the button before you panic, right? and not get into the, oh my gosh, we need to do this. Then once you hit the button, you're like, wow, we should have done this 2 weeks ago, right? Exactly. So like, be a little forward thinking and be a little proactive, and understand that at every position except for quarterback, you can always reinsert the starter. Like there's no crime against that. You're not breaking a law, right? You try D. Delaney. If he craps the bed, go back to Ryan Neal, right? And maybe you get a more of a reinvigorated Ryan Neal, like, wow, holy crap. Yeah. Like I was in there and they gave D a shot. Man, they yanked D. Holy crap. Now this is my shot.
Maybe I should pay attention to my responsibilities. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that at every position but quarterback. Once you start playing yo-yo with the quarterback, your season's over, because if the guy that you switch him out for, if the backup doesn't play well, very good, and elevate your team and stays in there and wins the whole thing, If you have to go back to the starting quarterback, which is your team captain, Baker Mayfield, if you try trash for a couple weeks and he bombs, you have to go back to Baker. Your season's over. Right? You can't win playing yo-yo quarterback, but you can make other substitutions. That's allowed. You're not. That's the NFL has no rules against.
Lose your room.
Yeah.
All right, Scotty. Thanks so much for your time. Tell everybody where they can find the great Pewter Report content.
PewterReport.com, the mothership. Check us out for injury reports, inside scoop, fantastic columns, etc., game coverage, and make sure you visit Pewter Report TV. It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. We have almost 13,000 subscribers. We're doing our live podcast. Typically, don't do it on Tuesdays, but because it's a short week, we have a podcast today at 4:00. It's live. If you miss it, you can always check out our archived podcast there. I do Pewter Pulse videos as well. My little thoughts on different topics, all things Buccaneer. And that's at Pewter Report TV. You can also find us on social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report.
Awesome, Scott. Thanks, man. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Go get him at the press conference. All right. We'll take a quick break here. We'll come back. TJ Rives is going to join us, Bucs sideline guy. I want to get into some college football. The Michigan scandal is getting better and better. It reads like
juicy stuff, man.
Spy novel. And here's a quick tease from our TJ Rives guest coming up here in a second. He's got some interesting thoughts on the great Greg Schiano. Yes, the former Bucs coach and how he's playing into this Michigan scandal. Very interesting stuff. We're brought to you by The Patio. We will be there on Friday night, 5 to 7 o'clock. Come join us for a little Friday night celebration. We're going to have a Halloween party as well at The Patio. So bring those costumes out. We're going to have a costume contest, prizes, all kinds of fun stuff on Friday at The Patio. So any night's a great night for The Patio. That's where everybody meets outdoors. It's beautiful under the palm trees and the stars. Great staff over there. Great prices. Not going to gouge you. Great food as well. They got a food truck there that's absolutely tremendous. Had the wings last week. They were fantastic. So check it out. It's The Patio, 421 South McDill, 3 blocks south of Kennedy. Back with some TJ Rives and some college football talk. Stay with us.
Do you have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
Yes. Sliding into the chair right on my mark.
Perfect timing.
Yes. Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Go there. If you have any problems with anybody bothering you, let the Jeeves Law Group handle it. They will take care of it. They will viciously represent you against those horrible insurance companies, which do not want to pay out for hurricanes, don't want to pay out for auto, they don't want to pay out for anything. Also, they do class action lawsuits. Anything in the legal realm, they do it. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Just go to their website, jeeveslawgroup.com, and tell them JP sent you. I'm a non-attorney spokesperson, by the way. All right, let's bring in our good friend TJ Rives, Bucs sideline guy.
Can you hook me up? Can you hook me up when the tagline is anybody bothering you?
Is anybody bothering you?
Is anybody bothering you?
Because you know what?
It
A strongly worded letter from an attorney works miracles. It's so
I agree
funny.
with you.
People want to F with you, but you said you called Jeeves and you say, you know what? Can you give me a strongly? And it cures so many ills when they find out, oh, you got an attorney? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you. I'm sorry I was harassing
I'm
you.
nostalgic, and I'm not trying to delay the inevitable in talking about the latest Buccaneer lackluster offensive effort, but digress with me for 5 seconds. By the way, IndyCar Tim, very solid with the Texas Rangers shirt there.
Right.
The party. What time did the party?
It gets better. It gets better.
Did the God, he's got his underwear on. All right. His
pajamas.
My question is, did you ever go to bed last night, or did we just rock on through to the JP Peterson show here today on the high of winning the American League Championship Series?
The last time I looked at the clock, it was 4:47 a.m. and I wasn't even home yet.
Adolis Garcia just hit another home run.
And by the way, very nice. By the way, game 1, game 2, if you haven't talked about this, but I'm sure you have, in Arlington, they have the home field advantage no matter who wins tonight.
Yep.
And the Cowboys playing in that same complex on Sunday against the Rams. So it's going to be quite a weekend in Arlington and DFW for Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. So good on you guys. I said to you a couple of weeks ago, do we take some modicum consolation if the Rangers go on to the World Series or win the World Series? Are we lightening up now, JP, a little bit? Or are you still bitter that it didn't go so well in the wild card here against the Rangers?
Well, I'm always going to be bitter when it comes to the Rays, but yeah, I think you're right. Teams get hot, right? They get hot, and they got the mojo, and they certainly put it on. Have you seen the
stat that it is the first time since the '96 Yankees that a team has won 8 straight road games to start the postseason?
Crazy. That is bananas.
So it started here in St. Petersburg, and it ain't stopped. And good on the Houston Astros. You're just going to keep making history every which way possible because once again, they play in a series where nobody won a home game and they blow game 6 and game 7, just like the 2019 World Series to the Nationals. They lost game 6 and game 7 at home to blow that. They now blow game 6 and game 7 to the Rangers. hey, if you're going to go down in flames.
So you're
You
saying
haven't
you're
to a nicer team either.
Yeah.
So you're saying if you don't have drums, trash cans to bang on, and not stealing signals from the pitcher, or that it's tougher to win. Is that what you're telling me?
I think it's great. I think it's great karma that Garcia gets drilled with the pitch. And from then on, Texas dominates, and including in Houston, to shut them up once and for all.
I've never heard a stadium get so silent so fast.
Well, the best part is I kept flipping back and forth. I didn't have dual screens going from the Monday night game. And when I flipped back over and it was like 8-2 in the 7th inning, there's nobody behind home plate. Everybody had abandoned there at Minute Maid. See you later. So
I was watching with one of my girls was there, that we were with a big group of people, and she's every time after that home run, she was like, "Where'd everybody go?" I'm like, "It's Houston. They're terrible sports fans."
There you go. All right, we've delayed the inevitable.
No.
We're talking about just to talk.
We just
is
had
anybody
Scott
bothering you or the Rangers World Series? Let's go.
No, I want to talk Michigan football.
Do you want to do that first, or do you want to save that for dessert?
We just talked a lot about the Bucs. So
the next head coach is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, huh? Jim Harbaugh.
Did you?
Oh my God! Please.
Did you? My question is,
please no. Did you hear what you just said?
In my absence, did you solve anything about the Buccaneer offense? Because I know there's been a lot of discussion. Did you solve anything for Thursday night? Do I have hope? Do I have optimism that we're going to see touchdowns, plural?
Thankfully, Filer's injured. And I hate to say that, but that's the only thing that's going to get him out of the lineup. Then fine. So it looks like Nick Leverett will be inserted in the left guard where he should have been playing all along. So that will hopefully help a little bit. We Scott Reynolds and I have talked about actually putting an offensive lineman where the tight end plays, so you can get a block. At least. That might help the running game as well.
You've hit on something there that Rob Gronkowski was so good at in 2020 and 2021 that was unsung, because like 50 plays a game, 40, 45, 50 plays a game, he was pounding defensive ends and pass rushing linebackers as an extra blocker, and that went completely unsung.
Not only did he set the edge so you could run outside all day long, playoff Lenny, but he's driving people. He's driving them into the linebacker. Like nobody can even pursue because he's knocking that guy off the ball, as opposed to, the defensive end pushing back into your backfield. When it's going this way, you can really run the football. When it's going this way, it's just not very good. So it's a huge problem. And these are the things that I think, I guess we're going to get into it. These are the things that make people frustrated. And when I look at the tape, I'm frustrated because they're obvious personnel issues. And yet you keep putting them out there. I mean, Devin White, you keep putting them out there. I mean, everybody can watch the tape. Matt Filer, you keep putting them out there. Rob Hainsey, you keep putting them out there. Cody Mock, you keep putting them out there. Rashad White, Keyshawn Vaughn, oh my God. You keep putting them out there. And you're just like, what are you doing? Like, do you think the light is going to come on?
I understand. Part of the argument would be you got to 3-1 with this group, and now you've stumbled out of the bye week, and you've been over that about did you practice enough during the bye week? Yeah. And clearly the offense, I don't think it's unfair. The offense looks like it has regressed from the New Orleans game. You've got to snap out of whatever's going on, especially in the red zone. What was that stat you gave that the 3 home games with Philadelphia, Detroit,
in the red zone,
and Atlanta, they've scored 2 more touchdowns than you, me, and Tim have scored in the red zone in those 3 home games?
And what's worse is I don't see a plan for the red zone. It looks a lot like last year. It's are we doing pick plays? Is this a zone beater? I asked him that asked Baker that in the press conference. Like, are your zone beaters not working? Do you have zone beaters? Do you know what is zone?
Well, one of the biggest things, what do we know? But I've been doing this for a long time, and I listen to coaches and I listen to players. You have to do things decisively and quickly with the field compressed like that, especially goal to go.
Oh God, yes.
You don't have time to stand for a second, 2 or 3 and have something develop, especially if they're dropping 7 guys like Atlanta was on the second down play and on the third down play. It's got to be almost immediate, decisive. Get it to somebody. So
prison door windows. It's not very big.
very, very tight window. All right. You want a little optimism on Tuesday, then we'll move on to dessert. We'll move on to the Michigan stuff and the name that we're going to bring up.
Yes.
Let me give you a little nostalgia and a little hope, Buccaneer fans.
Okay.
2011 in the Creamsicles IndyCar, Tim, The team blows the game with the New Orleans Saints. JP, you were covering it, I believe, News Channel 8. Blow the game at home to the Saints and the Creamsicles. It'll tie into Greg Schiano coming up. So Greg Schiano's coach team. All right. So you lose that game. In fact, that's the only game I know our buddy Paul Stewart from buckpower.com is watching this, so I'm singing his song because he loves this minutia and the nostalgia. That is the only Buccaneer game before or since, and it may be the only game in the history of the NFL before or since, where a team scored the winning touchdown on back-to-back plays to end the game, and both times it's wiped out because the receiver was out of the end zone before he caught the ball.
That's right.
So on the third down or on the second to last play of the game, Vincent Jackson, the late Vincent Jackson, had stepped out of the back of the end zone, caught the winning touchdown. We're all celebrating.
Yes.
I'm going happy post-game show. We're great. Wait a minute. There's a flag. He was out of the end zone, illegal touching. Now you run the final play of the game with like 4 seconds left. And Mike Williams gets pushed out of the end zone, but he's come back in. He's open. They hit him with it. The flag's there again, and the game is over. Back-to-back plays, the winning touchdown wiped off only in Buckville. Yes. And the winning touchdown be wiped off back-to-back plays.
And
now,
only
what's
in the
my point? In the creamsicles. What's my point? 4 nights later, you go to the Metrodome. This is Josh Freeman. This is Doug Martin. This is Gerald McCoy and Aqib Talib and those guys. You go to the Metrodome, and everybody thought you were going to get rolled by Adrian Peterson and the Vikings. And JP, you may have been at that Thursday night game. I'm not sure if you went to that one with Schiano on Thursday night.
My ears are still ringing.
They played brilliantly off of that devastating loss. They scored like 35 points. Freeman was money on third down. They ran the ball. 35 points. 35 points is 3 games right now. I don't know how many points they're going to score Thursday. The only thing I'm selling on FanStream JP today, the JP Peterson show, is it is possible to snap out of this and play well on the road. And Buffalo is not exactly a juggernaut. They're not exactly Philadelphia or Kansas City right now. So I'm giving you reference that I have seen this movie before. It's been a while, but I have seen this movie before on Thursday Night Football.
So even that horrible team could go up there and do that on a Thursday. So this team should be able to get something. It's funny because, as dismal as I painted the picture for the Buccaneers, it's so funny is if Baker Mayfield looks to his left on second down and fires the ball to Rachaad White, he's likely going to score a touchdown there with 43
You've been saying it for 2 days, and I've seen it now on the tape too. It makes you want to vomit. It makes you want to vomit that he didn't see it. Yeah.
And they win the game. Now we're assuming that the Falcons don't drive down the field in 40 seconds with one timeout and score the winning touchdown, which is not a given. But you get a good shot to at least get to overtime at the very least. You're going to win the game, probably. And so all the narratives change. Oh, of course. You're 4-2. The offense is struggling a little bit, but it's been good enough. Your defense is really, really good. You're holding teams down. And so the narrative changes so dramatically on one play. So I don't want to go crazy, but I also – you have to, when you do the autopsy, you can't ignore the sickness. When you get in there and you see a lot of bad stuff, you didn't see it at first, maybe because it was hidden, but man, the tape is not good.
And since the New Orleans game, and then we're going to move on. Since the New Orleans game, penalties have started in the Superdome. Ooh. They've continued on offense. That's a bad symptom that you've got to get rid of. And that's something you can correct. You got to line up correctly. You don't false start. You had 3 false starts Sunday at home. That should not be happening. So
this is one of my big problems with this team. Was we saw this last year. As the year goes on, you should be getting better in your execution. Right. You should be getting better at these things. So what's going on that's not happening?
Well, let's see. Let's see if it's sharper. Yeah. Let's see if it's better. I would have to think that 54 Levante David has probably spoken up either Sunday after that game or will speak up during the week or before the game Thursday on this. What's got to stop on. We got to cover people better and or rush the quarterback better. Let's go get it done. Look for the veteran leadership from Evans, Godwin, Tristan Wirfs, whomever besides Baker Mayfield to step up and say, let's be on point. Yes. Let's be like we were in Minnesota and like in New Orleans for the most part. You had some penalties in New Orleans, but for the most part, you executed in New Orleans and you moved the ball and scored touchdowns.
Baker's been making plays, and we've known this. His third down stuff is off the charts. He was carrying you offensively in a lot of different ways. He was bailing out a bad running game. He was making good throws. They were,
But to your point, the last 2 weeks he's missed some stuff.
Exactly.
He's missed some throws. He's
So
missed some open guys.
Yeah, and you can't be all Baker dependent. He's not freaking Tom Brady.
Right.
He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's got to have guys play around him. So if they're all, waiting for him to make a play, I got news for you guys. You guys need to look in the mirror and make some freaking plays. Help the dude out. Make a run. Make a block. Catch a freaking football when he throws.
I'm with you. 11 games to go. Let's see what it looks like Thursday night.
Yeah.
I'll be back with you.
It could change.
I'll be back with you after it's over with. And yeah, you can flip things around.
Yeah.
And you had a long way to go.
Week-to-week league.
It is a week-to-week league. My Lord, Detroit at Baltimore. Have we figured that out 48 hours later?
Well, after you play the Bucs, it's hard to get up for a game.
And then Minnesota last night with San Francisco.
They've lost 2 in a row. I didn't think they were going to lose a game this year.
Everybody, the Eagles 2 weeks ago to the Jets. Everybody appears to be beatable in one-game scenarios, but let's just see. Let's just see if it looks better on Thursday. Now you want to get to dessert. Let's do it.
Did you guys know real quick in that I've got a Rave because I cover the Ravens for SI too. In that Ravens-Lions game, the Lions had three and outs. They'd run 9 total plays in that game. At that point, the Ravens already had 7 plays of 20 or more yards in the game.
They had 28 points correct before the Lions had a first down Sunday. It was 20. We kept looking at the scoreboard in the first half and is that a mistake? It says 21-0 second quarter, 28-0 second quarter, and eventually 35-0.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So, welcome to the NFL week-to-week league.
Here locally, they pulled the local coverage. We had Ravens and Lions on our Fox affiliate, and they moved it to Bucs Falcons for a more competitive game.
Yes.
And I'm
that had no touchdowns in the second half and five turnovers, literally 5 turnovers in the second half, I think, or 4, and no touchdowns. But
that's a question we were talking about yesterday, just the NFL in general, the product here, TJ. It looked a lot like the Ohio State Penn State game on Saturday. Just dreadful.
I heard
football.
You say that.
Dreadful football. I mean, there's around the league, it's not good, and scoring is down. Tom Brady's
except if you're the Chiefs and the Eagles. The Chiefs and the Eagles seem like they can score on everybody. But
what's going on? What do you think?
I think part of it may be quarterback play. Part of it is you've gotten away from anybody being able to run the ball. It's all pass, like it's like you're playing PlayStation.
Yeah,
you're playing Madden. But the Buffalo Bills have had all kinds of trouble scoring and had trouble in New England the entire day until the final quarter, putting any points on the board at a bad New England team that for all intents and purposes looked like they had given up and tuned out Bill Belichick. And yet they rallied. Say something for being able to rally in the one-game scenario at home, but Buffalo did not exactly look good in that one or the previous game with the Giants or the London game with the Jaguars. This is a gettable game on Thursday. This is not the Eagles. This is not the Lions that you're playing coming up on Thursday. We'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting how teams get reputations, and this is not the same Bills team. They've been depleted over the past 2 years, and then this year they lose Matt Milano and the corner. They've lost a lot of their key players, so it's a totally different Buffalo team in a lot of different ways. All right, so this Michigan scandal is just juicy stuff. So what we learn is that freaking Harbaugh has gone all Belichick, and he's like So this guy gets caught buying tickets to 30 Big Ten games or on his laptop, and its laptop is real.
Using his own name to buy the tickets at all the road games, directly traceable back to him. Yes.
Duh. It's almost like he was setting somebody up for a fall here. It's just interesting and then Greg Schiano, fill in the rest here with Mr. Detail, like Mr. 68.5 degrees in every meeting room.
Okay, so the best that we can gather is that late September game when Michigan defeated Rutgers 31-7, and I'm trying to confirm that was at Michigan, or I'm trying to make sure, was it at Piscataway where Schiano now is? I'm trying to make sure of that. It's a 31-7 win.
I think it was at Rutgers. Yeah.
And so the belief is they are the team that turned Michigan in, that Schiano is the one that turned Michigan in, and that he was videotaping this coach, was videotaping this analyst, whatever he is, that has been there now on staff for 2 years, and they have been highly suspicious of everybody's talking. Coaches all talk. We know this.
And coaches, by the way, they're kind of like baseball players. They know when you're tipping pitches. You know, they know what, and, you know, the pitcher figures it out. Why? How the hell do you know that was coming? And then the same thing is like, wait a minute, they just walked down 2 linebackers in the hole 4 times in a row. I mean, like
right where we're about to run the play.
Right. It's like, and Schiano actually on the halftime interview.
It was at Michigan, so we need to confirm that the Rutgers Michigan game was at Michigan Saturday, September 23rd. But what Schiano's comment was at halftime of the game and even after the game is we had some weird thing. I think he used the word weird. We had some weird things happen in this game. Everybody's going, what is he talking about?
Right.
Because there was constantly weird things around Schiano when he was here with the Buccaneers.
Right.
So what he means apparently is there were things that they were running that day that they had not run yet. And Michigan was ready for it every time. So that's where the suspicion came up. So what we know is somebody sent video evidence to the Big Ten and to the NCAA showing this guy, this assistant, in the stands as an advanced scout, which is illegal to begin with. You're not allowed to advance scout in the stands or film anything. It's a Big Ten rule. And he's filming the opposing sideline, and they have video of it. All right. Now there's also video and still photography showing this guy constantly beside the Michigan defensive coordinator and constantly beside the offensive coordinator right before the snap, right when they're coming out in formation, telling them exactly what they're about to run on the defense. Now, the difference in college football, as we should explain, is they don't have the two-way radio to the helmet. So you have to now signal yourselves out to the field what the change is in your own offensive play or your own defensive play, according to the signals. But this is apparently an elaborate sign-stealing thing, just like Spygate, with video. He's taking video of the signals. They're matching it up to game film. And lo and behold, Michigan's role that they've been on, sure, they're talented. Sure, Harbaugh can coach to an extent. But all of it's in question, is it not, JP, right now?
Absolutely.
It's got to be tainted. And if this is confirmed that this has systematically been going on for the last 2 years and the coaching staff has knowledge of it, what do you do with Harbaugh, who was already suspended at the beginning of the year? How big is the punishment here on this?
A couple of things. First of all, number one, people are like, wow, they are working hard. They're stealing the signals, but they're going the extra mile. It's like, this is not anything that's so brilliant that nobody else has thought of it. It's easy to do. It's not that hard to do. You just have to have the lack of ethics and morals to do it. And then go out and execute it. And then assistant coaches like on the sideline using this information, that's like, what do you what you're doing is wrong. You're cheating, but so you've created a culture where if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Right. So where does that stop? At what level does that stop? It doesn't, by the way. when this goes,
but in
goes
this
back
case,
to the Patriots, when you catch them doing things, and you say, "Oh, this is an isolated," no, it's not. You just caught them that time. They've been doing it forever. They've been doing it forever, and you're going to find out that this Patriots run that they did is all tainted. At some point, somebody's going to crack. And you're going to
you already got enough there on that about Spygate and all the different things that they were doing.
But they were tapping into headphones on the sideline. I'm convinced of it. Anyway. So now here's where the human element comes in. I think it's very interesting because
one more, if I can interject one more thing, they still have to play Ohio State, and Ohio State a year ago got wiped out in the second half of the game at home. And again, there is some belief that this is Ryan Day and Ohio State turning Michigan in and saying, we believe the sign stealing stuff came into play in our game last year against them, and they still have to play in what's looming to be a massive game coming up here in that border war. Because one of the comments, I guess, from one of the coaches that's already played against Michigan this year in the Big Ten was they knew everything we were about to do defensively and offensively. It's uncanny. Every time that we went to run a misdirection, a bootleg, something to go the other way, they were always ready for it.
Right.
So
it's. And so here's where, because I heard people talking on the broadcast, it's like, well, listen, Harbaugh is going to be long gone before he gets any punishment. This is going to be a long adjudication, blah, 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 blah. They've got to figure it out. They got to investigate, blah, blah, blah. And that's true, especially when it comes to the NCAA. But here's the thing. There's a committee, okay? And the committee is made up of human beings who can presumably read stories. And so,
are you about to try to credit the NCAA here for moving swiftly and knowing what they're doing?
No,
are we going there on a Tuesday on the JP show?
I'm talking about the playoff committee.
How about the Big Ten? Can we start with the Big Ten? Why can't the Big Ten, in short order here, have an investigation, hear from this assistant? He isn't going to say anything. He's going to do the hear no evil, see no evil, plead the fifth, come get me, prosecute me. Okay, so he's not going to help you. Have your investigation, look at the video, look at what's going on. And Michigan's got to have 4 Big Ten games left, I think. So the Big Ten can absolutely rule on this coming up and say there's enough damage here. You've already been in trouble earlier this year. You're not coaching another Big Ten game this year. We are the Big Ten. You violated our rule. What do you think of that, JP Peterson, on a Tuesday?
I don't think they have the balls to do it. It's the golden goose. Because what if Michigan beats Ohio State and they're the only undefeated team? You're gonna suspend them, and then you don't have a representative in the playoff. And here's the thing: if I can complete my thought here, because I'll lose it. You interrupt me, I could be gone for weeks. Because I can't get back to it. But here's the thing. So the committee now, because I heard this,
the playoff committee you're talking about.
Playoff committee. If FSU is undefeated and Michigan's undefeated, and FSU's got a 43% chance of getting in the playoff if we have 5 undefeated, they're the ones left out. I'm like, what? Like, have you seen Michigan's schedule? I don't care if they're beating teams 49-0. Have you seen? You played nobody.
Right.
You played we're playing LSU in Florida in our non-conference games, and you're undefeated, and you're gonna that crap schedule your conference and your non-conference games.
East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green is the out-of-conference home schedule.
Awful.
Did I name anybody of I mean, UNLV is actually 5-1 this year, but is that anybody of relevance there?
0.
And by the way, if you're wondering,
0.
they're off this week. Why can't the Big Ten act like after this weekend, do their investigation, call Harbaugh in, call this assistant in, and say, we're going to suspend you for the rest of the year. The last 4 games for these shenanigans, you aren't the head coach anymore.
I don't think it's enough.
What a message that would send if you did that. I agree with you. I'm with Mr. Rourke and Tattoo on Fantasy Island right now. That ain't happening. I agree with you. But what if they were to look at those last 4 games, Purdue at home off the bye week, November 4th, then at Penn State, massive game for them, at State College, at Maryland, and then Ohio State is home at the Big House. What if the Big Ten were to say, you've already been suspended this year, caught cheating, and we had to suspend you as the conference? That was a Big Ten suspension. Mm-hmm. By the way, it was only for those 3 non-conference chumps that I mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green.
Slap on the wrist. Bro.
But can the Big Ten not act? The NCAA is not going to get to this until 2027 probably. But can the Big Ten not act? I ask you.
Well, first of all, I think, number one, the playoff committee should sanction them. So if they are the only undefeated team, they're not in the playoff because you cheated. Ooh. That's what I would do, because right there, and they don't even have to say it. They could just go, yeah, we didn't think they were good enough. Their schedule sucked. You're out. And so that's number one. That's the first thing I would do. Second of all, if I interview every one of these coaches, if I interview Schiano and I interview all these coaches, Ryan Day and everybody, and I bring them in and they bring some film and they go, look, here. They knew what we were doing every single freaking time. You know what I would do? I'd say forfeit those games. I have enough evidence that you cheated so badly that you are now going to forfeit those games. Because here's the thing about crime and punishment. If there is no punishment, there's going to be plenty of crime.
You're right.
Just look around the United States right now. But it's the same thing in sports. I don't even care if Harbaugh's suspended. They'll use him as a martyr. And he'll still be in there doing coaching and stuff like that. And maybe they'll get even a push from this. I don't want that. I want those games forfeited. You cannot even, you're not even going to the championship game because why not?
Would they go, speaking of killing the golden goose, would they go so far as to say, Michigan, you can't play in the Big Ten title game, which is lucrative for them?
Well, if you forfeit the games, you don't qualify.
Yeah.
Because, and listen, that's football. I can tell, and there should be some people in the Big Ten hierarchy that know a little bit of something about football. And if I can go to the tape, now I must not want to listen to the coach because they'll all say, yeah, they cheated. I want you to bring in your tape and show me exactly what you're talking about.
To your points,
and that will be incontrovertible evidence.
Yeah, to your points of incontrovertible evidence, they have 2 games where a surveillance video in 2 separate games of him sitting in the stands doing this.
Yeah.
Caught red-handed. And then he's standing right by the defensive coordinator or the offensive coordinator telling them the play based on the hand signals that they've all studied. So it's an elaborate thing that they're all in on. Will the Big Ten do anything? I don't know, but this is a juicy story. And by the way, you think there are, I mean, the SEC, it's different down here. We get it. But up there, all they care about is Ohio State and Michigan. And in Columbus, they are ready to be at the Big Ten offices with pitchforks and torches to go after somebody, because this is part of how they lost last year at home that kept them from winning the Big Ten. So
sidebar, Your Honor. If you watch College Game Day this last week, Reese Davis was just trying to hammer Michigan, and Dez was having none of it. Well, it's actually the other way around. Dez was trying to excuse all this. He's like, "Oh, you know."
And Reese Davis, and you got Herb Street.
Like, no. You
got Herb Street sitting there too. And you have a Big Ten rule that says you're not allowed to do this, and the dude is in the stands videotaping the other coaching staff to help.
Come on, man.
And used his own name to do it. It's like my father-in-law, who had
smart.
Had my father-in-law had 30 years in the St. Pete Police Department in robbery, homicide, robbery, forgery, as he always liked to say. They're all master criminals until they do the stupid thing that gets them caught. And he used his own name to buy the tickets everywhere.
So I thought Tim had a very interesting thought to move this forward and really close to home.
It's coming.
If you missed it, do you want to say that again, Tim?
It's your next head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right there, Jim Harbaugh.
Oh no. Dude, he's got to do the post-game interview with that jackass.
You guys have fun with that.
I already had to deal with Greg Schiano previously, too, with him running from me and hiding from me instead of talking to me. You're trying to make my Tuesday miserable. I have optimism. I am headed to Buffalo. We are staying near Niagara Falls. No, I'm not going to contemplate jumping. We get ready for this game with the Bills Thursday night. Let's see what happens there, and I will report back to you at a later date.
Nothing but Bucs podcast, by the way.
How much money would it take? Maybe we can get this funded for you to go over the falls in a barrel.
Not in a barrel, no.
Put your website on the side of the barrel, and just Pewter Report TV.
The Bucs hired Jim Harbaugh. He'll do that on his own. Without a barrel.
So they have the falls, they have the U.S. side, and they have the Canadian side. I want to confirm I'm not defecting either, because we're staying up there near that. Prior to the Buffalo game. But yeah, we look forward to it. Nothing But Bucs podcast will be out, by the way, God willing, after this game Thursday. We'll have it Friday midday. Full recap, highlights, interviews, all of it. Great stuff, by the way, on the Nothing But Bucs from our mutual friend Rock Riley, who's been in this market for 30 years, giving some great analysis on the offense and what he's seeing and being out at practice and being around these guys. That's on the previous Nothing But Bucs. That's on the Buccaneers mobile app and wherever you get podcasts. So I always love being with you.
You're the best.
Let's see what happens Thursday, and I'll be back with you, God willing, at a later date. Let's see if the Bucs get a win.
All right, thanks, TJ. Always good to chat. Like a half hour just goes by like nothing when he comes on. It's like I just love chatting with TJ. All things, everything, and always has the best stories. So, all right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. We got some more college football to get into. We also have Saints being arrested, which is always goes over well here in Tampa Bay. So we'll get to that. And so we'll talk some baseball as well. And the 49ers last night, holy hell, they've lost 2 in a row. They lost to a team that the Bucs beat. Okay. It's not the end of the world, folks. Stay with us. Quick break.
Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here. IndyCar Tim joining me from Dallas, our DSP media affiliate, which, by the way, they have lots of great podcasts as well. If you want to promote some of that stuff, your car, your show, IndyCar Tim, and all the other stuff we got going on
Yeah,
there.
you guys over to fanstreamsports.com, the homepage. We've got all of the whatever is live on at the time, JP's show, the Colby Sapp and IndyCar Tim show, the From the Rough Golf podcast. We got the Bottom Line Sports Talk over there too. Whatever's live at the time will be up on the homepage, either by audio through the app or the video portion of it. So go check it out. Then there's links to all the shows at the bottom. Lots of fun times over there. We got a great variety of programming, pro sports, college football. It's basketball season's approaching here too in college, so we'll have lots of great content for everybody. Go check it out.
Yeah, it's all good stuff over there, and if you're a sports fan, you will enjoy the edge of which we cover all these sports. It is not your normal talk radio. Let's just put it that way. We try to give it a little bit of edge, or a lot of edge, as that.
We don't have program directors telling us what to talk about.
This is not corporate media, folks. This is independent. I use the term journalism loosely, but it's independent reporting and talking. A lot of educated people in their particular fields, giving you some stuff that you won't hear on the regular corporate stuff. So we thank you guys. And by the way, you can go to our link tree on all my social media at FanStreamJP, at JP Peterson Sports. Hit the link tree or Facebook and donate to the program if you like. If you like what we're doing, we would appreciate you supporting the program financially, 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever it is. We love you. So feel free to do that in your PayPal account and support what we're doing here. If you're anti-corporate media, pay us. How's that sound?
Yeah, there you go.
All right. I mentioned Saints getting arrested. So Chris Olave arrested for a reckless operation of a motor vehicle traveling 35 miles per hour over the speed limit. He reportedly did not resist arrest and was cooperative with law enforcement. Yeah, I mean, is that 35 over the speed limit? I might have to cop to doing that myself once in a while.
They didn't say what the speed limit was, though, right? Like, was it 35 over in a 40, or was it like 35 over in a 70, or
in a school zone? Like, were you doing a slalom through the elementary school kids? What are we talking about here? as much as I'd like to dump on him, that doesn't seem like a very serious offense. I mean, it's not like they're going all Georgia Bulldog driving their cars around.
Oh man,
terribly. So yeah. So I doubt that that's going to be, rise to the Alvin Kamara level. So
yeah,
I don't think it's going to be that serious.
Speaking of coaching changes that are imminent, right?
Yes.
I mean, poor Dennis. I mean, I like Dennis now. He's an Aggie and everything, but man, dude is not made out to be a head coach in the league. Great defensive coordinator, but
I think we got a lot of that going on in the NFC South.
Yeah, probably so. Probably so, man.
And and that's not, sometimes you feel bad about saying that about Todd Bowles or Dennis Allen. It's not the worst thing in the world. Like, there's about 10 people on the planet that can play quarterback in the NFL at a high level. Okay, it's about the same amount that can coach in the NFL at a high level. It's and even as a coordinator, if you do a good job as a coordinator, you're elite. I mean, that's a hard freaking job, and Todd Bowles has done that for a long, long time. So, to say somebody is not head coach material, I don't think is the worst thing in the world. But from what I've seen from Todd, it's a tough deal, man. To me, Todd is an ex-player, and he coaches like an ex-player. He's very friendly to the players. He doesn't throw them under the bus. He's not, Bruce Arians was not a player, an NFL player. He played quarterback in college, but he was not. And and not many. I mean, how many ex-players have been really, really good coaches in the NFL? Can you think of any? I mean, I'm trying to.
Well, I mean, going way back, I mean, Tom Landry was an ex-player. Mike Ditka, of course, was an ex-player. But I mean, look at the great coaches today. None of these guys. Heck, most of the great coaches today were head coaches and had players older than them.
Yeah,
in some
their
cases.
dads were head coaches.
Yeah.
There's more of that going on. Mike Tomlin was he tutored under some incredible coaches. On that Tony Dungy staff with Herm Edwards and Monty Kiffin. Just down the line, a lot of guys that became head coaches. So. To me, it's more about your coaching pedigree and where you learned and who you are as a human being, right? Mike Tomlin can be a hard ass. They're just two totally different people. And I think one of Todd's biggest problem is he's too soft on the players. Yeah. He expects them to be professionals and a lot of guys need a kick in the ass. A lot of guys need to be motivated. A lot of guys need to be threatened. A lot of guys need, certain ways to do it. And I don't know if it works. On his level, his style works. Tony Dungy. Everybody points to Tony Dungy as being a mild-mannered guy who got it done. You have to be around Tony to understand that. Mm-hmm. You just have to. He brought an aura of like you didn't want, as Derek Brooks has said many times, you didn't want to disappoint your dad. You didn't want to come home and when your dad, or wait for your dad to get home and disappoint. You loved the man so much. He was of such high character that you just never wanted to. So it worked for him. That style that was credible for him.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people mistake someone being like Tony Dungy is a perfect example. Someone being mild-mannered to being a pushover. Like you can be a mild-mannered coach and still command respect from your players. You don't have to be the pushover type, and I think that's what a lot of people think. They see mild-mannered, they're like, "Well, he's not in the locker room yelling at people.
Right?
He's not. He doesn't have a message." But that's not the case.
And speaking of coaching, I wanted to tap into this anyway with you today. Bruce Bochy. What he's brought to this whole situation. And what have you seen from the Rangers that you say, okay, this is why they're where they are right now? What would be your take on that?
Well, the number one thing that he brings to the organization is experience. And that's something that we haven't had in a manager for a long time. Somebody with skins on the walls, and we're going way back here in the manager ranks. And that's why I was so excited when dude was retired, right? Sitting on his couch. Chris Young, our general manager who played for him in San Diego, calls him out of the blue and says, would you think about it? And his answer was, only for you, Chris. I will come manage for you. He had no intent of getting back in the game. But if you just listen to the guy talk, if you've ever been in a room with him, he's one of these guys. He's fairly mild-mannered, but dude, he's got that voice. Beef, it's what's for dinner. That's what I think of every time I hear him. And
got that Sam Elliott growl.
Sam Elliott, but dude, he just everybody. You talk about football coaches, they want to run through a brick wall for the guy, and especially the young players that are here. you've got Corey Seager and Marcus Simeon that are veterans, but man, we've got a lot of young players on this. Adolis Garcia is still a young player.
Yeah.
And it's just, he just commands respect and authority with the history that he has in the game. He's a manager legend.
Yeah.
And that's something that the Rangers have missed for a long, long time. JP, they won 68 games last year.
That's unbelievable.
The turnaround, and with much the same, Seager and Simeon were here last year too. It's
right,
much the same. Garcia was here, but man, just his, like I said, it's just his persona, the legend that is Bruce Bochy, and everybody. He's getting the most out of his young players, I think, and he has a knack for doing that.
And do you say, obviously I'm not watching every Ranger game. Do you sense that he manages with more feel than analytics? Do you understand?
100%.
Do you get that feel?
Yep.
Yeah.
He manages with his gut. Now, of course, he's got somebody in his ear, hey, in this situation, here's what the analytics say.
Right.
And if he likes the analytics, he'll go with the analytics. But in most cases, he's already made his decision before analytics even come into it. And he's almost always right.
See, I think that's where managing needs to be, man. I think it's no joke that, Dusty Baker, I think, does the same thing. These older managers, they're winning for a reason. They're winning for a reason. You could look at some other situations where it's not the case, but yeah, I like it. I like what I'm seeing. And I don't know why. I know exactly why. I was a Rangers fan growing up. The Rangers were my American League team. The Reds were my National League team because we drove from Florida to Las Vegas one summer. And the first professional baseball stadium I ever saw was driving down I-10, I think it was, where Arlington, that old stadium, the original ballpark they had.
I-30. I-30, yeah.
I-30. Yeah, so I-30. So this would be 19 – God, I'm really going to date myself. 1978, maybe? 1979.
Okay, so the Rangers moved here from Washington in 72, and when that used to be called Turnpike Stadium. We had a minor league team here.
Yeah.
And so they had to expand it, of course, for the Rangers to move here. But, yeah, in 78 – they still had, and that's about the time I started going to games out there.
75, maybe it might have been, yeah.
They still had the old Texas-shaped scoreboard out in the field.
Yeah.
Also, the only stadium in the major leagues that had bleachers that went all the way through the outfield. There was no batter's eye or anything,
No.
But yeah, and that's, the stadium after that, the ballpark in Arlington was built in the parking lot behind it. So that, of course, that old stadium's gone. And now the new stadium, that stadium is still there. The new stadium, Globe Life Field, is right behind that stadium and then adjacent to the Cowboys Stadium, which is right there. So it's
so you guys build more stadiums. We can't get one freaking baseball stadium built. You built like 7 in the life of the team. It's crazy. I want to get some of our comments here today because we got a lot of activity going on. I want to thank you guys for jumping in. Really appreciate it. Jeremy Lowe saying Canales got to improve on play calling. It's going to get ugly for the rest of the season. I don't think he's doing a horrible job. I think it's a lot more execution than it is play calling right now. I really do. And that's on him too. Lonnie Wilkins saying, I had dinner with my family members who are higher up with the Cubs. They really like Glass now. Good. Come get him. Many do that, but they've been after him for a few years now. They tried to land him at the 2021 deadline. Hey, come up with some talent. We're going to trade him. There's no doubt he ain't playing here for $25 million. Anybody who thinks I told you that long time when the contract was signed. I told you that. I think Stammer deal gets done, but we have Hedman to worry about next year. Yeah, and I think both of those guys, probably Hedman, defensemen tend to play a little bit longer and are still good for a longer period of time. So I think they might even be prioritizing Hedman over Stamkos. But I think they're going to do everything they can to get both of those deals done, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be more up to Stammer, to be quite honest, because I think. Well, both of them are going to have, market value. It's some market value. I think Hedman probably more than Stamkos just because of his age. Stammer's playing tremendous hockey last year. So it just becomes an age thing. But you just wish that they could keep them both. The NHL needs to make a rule. They need a Larry Bird rule in the NHL, no question.
Yep.
And Lonnie says, I'll never forgive the Cubs non-tendering Schwarber over $6 million in COVID due to biblical losses for the $1 billion. Shut the hell up about biblical losses, especially that family. Are you effing kidding me? You can't, and I'm so glad that Schwarber went somewhere else and just, pounding the baseball in the postseason. Good. These billionaires that cry poor, just shut the hell up. Lonnie Wilkins says, look at the NBA. You have to pay a premium multiple days, pay for a nosebleed and have stars that don't play their half-ass their effort. It sucks. If your commissioner has to lay the law down and tell the players that they have to actually come put out and play in the regular season, I'm done. I'm so done with the NBA for so many reasons.
Yep.
So many reasons. But that's at the top of the list.
It's a bad product anyway.
It's a terrible product. The players don't give a rat's ass. They get paid way too much money to not give a rat's ass. And I knew this was going to happen. We went when Toronto was playing here in Tampa because of the stupid ass Canadian COVID rules. We show up the night, the Warriors are in town and Steph is out. My kids want to see Steph play. And he's out there moking around in warm-ups. He's fine. He's not injured. But I'm like, he's probably not going to play. And of course he didn't play. Yeah. You can't. I understand you got to get some management. I get it. But you can't play 8 minutes. I mean, it would have meant a lot to the fans that were there to just see him. Yeah, I got to see Steph play. I remember Steph Curry. Yeah, I got to see him play. Just 8 minutes. You can't give me 8 freaking minutes.
Yeah, how about rest at home, not on the road? Rest at home.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, you can't. Just Jesus. It's like you guys are unfreaking believable.
Yeah.
Donald Vesey says, "How about Longo RBI double and Ryan Thompson pitching in the a lot of X-rays around. Yeah, we don't. They won't pay anybody. Don't hold on to anybody.
What was their payroll this year? 80.
I think it started the season at 70 some million, but maybe touched 80 in the beginning. But we've never been over 80 million on an opening day payroll.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And the league average is $150 million. League average. So, and you got a guy that's literally going to make $1.6 billion, $7 billion on the sale of the team and Stu Sternberg from when he started, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And not to mention all the money he's already taken out, like hundreds, if not hundreds of millions of dollars.
I think the Rangers are just under 2, like 195 or something like that is where they are.
Yeah. I mean, it's and people, and I feel sorry for Rays fans because they actually think that, we're in it with Freddie Freeman. We're in it for Soto. We're in it. You're not in it for anybody. Alani Wilkins says it's just like working in sports. We're called freelance, but they give us crap wage and keep you part-time to avoid benefits, but require a degree to get in. No sympathy. Oh, it's crazy. The way the sports teams in general, and I'll absolve the Lightning of this because I work for them and they treat their employees very, very well. I mean, Jeffrey Vinnick taking them on, getting a private airplane and taking them to Colorado for a playoff game and, rings and all this stuff. They do a hell of a job, but just in general, yeah, the players get paid, the coaches get paid, everybody else, not so much. I'm a few minutes behind. Lonnie says, thank you, JP, for speaking the truth. This isn't a right versus left. They have rigged this entire open for the fans and general public. These old white mofos have killed it. I am an old white mofo. So, but
both of us.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm here to tell you, I have not lived a life of privilege. I didn't grow up a life of privilege. I worked my ass off, and have I enjoyed some privileges? Yes. I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't as a white person. I'm not that freaking stupid. But not everybody has white privilege. Some people do, and the ones that do tend to really abuse it.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of that, especially NFL owners. My God, some of these guys are just absolute freaking dinosaurs and need to go. But yeah, this is not, what's going on in this country now is not right versus left, folks. It's a totally different deal that's going on. The people that are pulling the strings do not have your best interest in mind. As the great George Carlin said, it's a big old rich club and you ain't in it. You ain't in it. And they don't give a rat's ass about you. Lonnie, I've been working at indie ball and good market in MLB. It kills your passion. It makes hard to separate work and fandom. Seeing how the sausage is made in sports is eye-opening for many. Yep. It really is, and I appreciate you jumping in on that. If you missed my rant earlier on, check it out at the end of the show. If you need to rewind, then might be worth your time for a few minutes. Back to some X's and O's in the game. Other than Baker's pick, Baker played well, JP. It's hard when you have zero talent at running back and weak interior O-line. Baker scrambled for 31, and on first and goal from the 8-yard line, no wide receivers were open. That's true. So what else can Baker do? He can dump it down to Rachaad White. Listen, I'm not throwing it all on Baker, but as I said earlier in the show, we were, completely dependent. We were Baker dependent in the first 3-4 games, and he was making plays. And certainly when he stops making those great plays on third down, the offense goes in the tank. Other guys got to pick it up. Other guys got to pick it up. So no, I'm not all putting it all on Baker, but I'm just pointing out that when he doesn't play at an elite level, this offense goes nowhere. Somebody else needs to pick him up every once in a while. Christopher Cole says, heck, knowing Bowles didn't have a practice this week. It's a short week, but these guys aren't going to do anything. But in my opinion, training camp was soft. He gives up these guys too much time off. You can't. I think they got 7 days off a week on the bye week. You're only supposed to get 4 in a row, but he gave everybody off those first 3 days. I just don't get that, especially on a developing team. TJC 22 is coming in hard today. Can we get off the trash stuff, please? Baker is not the problem. And this gets down into a lot of the weeds, but
he's a little bit of the problem.
Yeah. Bucs facing cover 3, 4, and 6 a bunch. Teams are taking away throws downfield. So, yes, you're going to have to drive in that fashion. When the Bucs see cover 2 man, Baker's second in EPA. Yeah, I mean, they like that stuff, but they're not going to play that because they know the Bucs, can't run the football. You don't have to commit 7 guys to stop their run. 6 will do it, 5 most times. So, yeah. I mean, I've been pointing that out so much is when they don't have to do anything special to stop your run, as you're saying right here, you're kind of stuck, man. You're kind of stuck. If they can drop 6 and 7 in coverage every play, and they can get pressure with 4 in some instances, you're done. There's not play calling. There's nothing. At some point, you got to line up and be able to do the minimum when it comes to running the football. And if you can't do that, then you're screwed. Lonnie said, look at Texas acquisitions and signing, got them over the hump. What a concept. Yeah. Talk a little bit about that, Tim, and vis-a-vis what, the Rays don't do, adding at the deadline, paying people real wages, going out and getting, older players who are better leaders in postseason time.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at who the Rangers got this year, just in pitching, of course, they got Scherzer and Montgomery in consecutive days. Before that, they went out and got Aroldis Chapman, who you guys were kind of after. Right. I remember we talked about that. You guys, and really we gave up very little to get him, to be honest.
I know. Exactly.
And, Chapman hasn't been necessarily gangbusters for us here in the playoffs, but he's eaten some innings up and he's been somewhat reliable when they needed him. But then you look at Montgomery, who's been our first starter in the first game of every playoff series we've had, and he's been lights out. He came in yesterday in relief. Lights out. Scherzer got hurt back on September 12th. He didn't pitch until game 5, got lit up a little bit. But I mean, that's what it's about, and it's up to the general manager of the team to recognize where the deficiencies are. If you think you're going to make a long playoff run, to go out and find the guys, strike the deal, and then keep them. And that's where the Rangers have excelled under Chris Young and where they have failed miserably before him. And,
right.
John Daniels, the ex-GM, who I think works for the Rays now, he's a consultant for the Rays, I believe. He, God bless his heart, but he didn't have the eye for it. And he was here for a long time. But a great guy. I've had beer with him and super dude, but dude could just not. And he recognized that late. He's the one that hired Chris Young. He stepped down as GM. He became president. Well, it wasn't long after that. He just stepped away from the team completely. And, man, Chris Young, all of his years in the front office, he's got all the relationships in the league. He pitched. He's got relationships with managers. That's why Bochy's here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about recognizing what you need. And for the first time, like I said, in a long time, the Rangers have somebody that can go out and get it done and get the players that they need. And here's the payoff now. You're making your 3rd World Series appearance, your first since 2011.
Yeah, and I think, payroll plays a role. Like you said, the Rangers at 196. And, when I think it sends a message to your team, and at the deadline, you're getting Scherzer. You go out and get Chapman. You're serious. Yep. You're serious about winning. And, the Rays had a chance to do all those things. They did none of it. They went out and got a mid-level starter in Savali who did very little. No bats, no bats in an offense that clearly was deficient. And you didn't do it in the offseason. You didn't do it at the deadline. You don't, and you keep saying you're doing stuff and you're in on guys, and they feed all this malarkey to these national pundits who put it out there for them. Oh, they were in on this, they were in on that. They don't close any of the deals. I don't want to hear that shit anymore. It's pointless to even talk about it. And it's never going to get done because of where your leadership is. I love Eric Neander, but when you go to the closing press conference and you say, oh, yeah, we have the ability to spend as much money as we want, but I stay at $70 million. You know, I could go to Neiman Marcus, Tim, and buy as much as I want, but I'd much rather shop over here at Nordstrom, rack.
Nordstrom rack.
Yeah, where I get, everything, all the used stuff that's not, that's 4 years out of style, but it's cheaper. I'd much rather stay here, which is fine. That's where I shop.
Lonnie had
I acknowledge it. I'm not winning any runway modeling shows, which is what you're supposed to do when winning a World Series. How can you sit there as a GM and say, I don't want to spend money? I'm free to spend it, but I don't want to.
It's literally your job to spend money.
Then you're an idiot. And he's not. He's a very smart guy. But don't come up and then people, oh, really? You can write that? We can have $120 million. Let me write that down. Put this in.
Lonnie had a great comment here, too. I want to throw it up there. Ballpark in Arlington was such a great ballpark. Lonnie, it still is, but it's a football stadium now as we've got our XFL Renegades that play there.
Of course it is.
And it's weird to go inside there after all those. And by the way, it's a great part. We call it the Temple here locally. It was a temple of baseball when they built it, compared to the old stadium that you remember seeing. Yeah. But dude, I will tell you, in August, it was freaking unbearable to sit in those dark green chairs, especially down the third base line and then left field. Man, when the sun was on, it was. And I've tried to get my kids into baseball, and I started young, taking them out to games individually. But dude, when they're 3, 4, 5 years old and it's 114 degrees, they're like, Dad, I can't. I'm like, well, I guess we're going to the bar to watch the game. It's great for me.
It can't do. I took my kids to a Bucs game about 8-10 years ago. It was sitting in the sun, and it's like a quarter in. They're like, Dad, we can't do it. Yeah. I'm like, God, we're so soft. But I was like the same thing. I'm like, this is too hot. Yeah, I'm out. Let's go to the club.
And it's funny with Globe Life Field now, all indoors and the retractable roof. I've been to indoor stadiums before. I went to the Astrodome a few times back when it was up and or when they were playing there, and it's still weird, man. Indoor baseball to me, because everything's a 1:00 game local on Sunday.
Is that a grass field?
No, they were good. That was originally going to be grass, and they were going to do the whole wheeling it in and out thing to grow it. Too expensive. It's the new whatever the turf is that everybody's using.
Hate it.
I do too. I mean, it looks okay, but dude, there is just a weird to me vibe. Yeah. Still, for somebody who's watched baseball outside his entire life,
it's plastic.
It's the sound of the ball on the bat is different. There's weird echoes from the crowd. It's just, and I've even been when the roof is open, and it's still that, because the roof only opens so far. Yeah, all of the outfield is still covered, but it's just weird. I mean, I'm into it. I'm glad we have 72 degrees in August now for a baseball game, but
yes,
it's just weird.
Yeah, I get it. I totally agree. All right, great job, Tim. Appreciate you. Appreciate all you guys commenting each and every day. Appreciate you subscribing to our YouTube page. Subscribe to our Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to those things. Please follow us on the social media. Please visit all our great sponsors: the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Italiano Insurance, Golden Diamond Source, Extravaganza Productions, American Mortgage Services, and, of course, The Patio, where we will be Friday and Thursday as well. Don't forget Bucs and Bills Thursday night. Great place to watch the Thursday night football that's going to be there. Bills Mafia will be there, so that'll be an electric atmosphere. Have a great day, everybody. Go Bolts tonight as they take on Carolina. Didn't even get to that today, but I will be there tonight. We will bring you all the fun and frivolity and analysis tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.